Due to popular demand, the hit show Velvet is returning to Melbourne for an encore season at the Palms at Crown. Channeling the original Studio 54 nightclub. As music director, my next guest has got the job of holding it all together. It's a very, very fast-paced show, and he's got a huge job to make sure it all goes as planned, and that's a bit of music in the background from this production. Introducing to you the music director and the man who's the DJ of the night too. He's online now, Joe Accaria. Nice to have you with us, Joe. How are you?
Nice to be with you, Leigh. And it sounds like you've got the disco pumping already there in the studio.
My word, you should see my producer.
We call the ailment disco delirium. It's sort of an infectious, a very dance-provoking infectious disease that takes the crowd on a bit of a journey. And we've all got it. We've had it for a couple of years now, but it should be a lot of fun.
Well, the journey started, in 2015, I think it was, wasn't it, over in Adelaide?
That's correct, yeah. We debuted the show up at the Adelaide Fringe Festival in the Garden of Unearthly Delights. And to be honest, we weren't really sure what the show would be until we put it in front of an audience. And we were quite stunned at the reaction, and it did really well there, including our return season the following year. And it really sort of catapulted the show into the domain of a great festival show and a theatre show at the same time, and gave the producers the confidence to be able to sell it overseas. And we did Edinburgh, and we've been all over Australia, and we're we're still going into its third year.
It's wonderful, isn't it? It's hugely successful. It really, really... Look, there's something about the whole presentation of this. You've got the elements of acrobatics, you've got the circus, you've got the entertainment, you've got the disco. Last year when I sat in the audience there at the Malthouse, you just got uplifted so much. People were tapping, they were dancing. You left the theatre and all you wanted to be was on a high.
Exactly. I mean, that's the intention. It should be an uplifting experience, but also a joyous experience that would make you want to dance in your seat, as well as being enthralled by what's in front of you. So, yeah, I think the amalgam of concert form, a bit of circus, there's a bit of music, there's a bit of comedy, there are sort of acts that you wouldn't expect in a show of this nature, but it's quite unique in the way that it does combine all these elements in one, and you can't really take your eyes off anything during our show. And it's all told through the music, basically. But there's a loose thread that follows a young man on a bit of a journey through this nightclub that not necessarily is Studio 54, but based on the premise that it's a hedonistic nightclub, and you walk into this space and all of a sudden these crazy characters start appearing.
Yes.
And it follows the journey of a young man through that, mostly through the music. And I think for me, it's quite a testament to the original compositions, the disco songs themselves, that are so descriptive to a point where you can actually tell a story through the song. And for me, the joy every night is playing that music to the audience and watching our performers, particularly Marsha and Tom, and singing through these great disco classics.
Well, your job is a difficult one because you've got to pull all this together, like I said in the intro there. I watched you up top of stage there at the last time I saw this last year, and you're on the go. You're really performing yourself, aren't you?
Yes, I think it was Craig Island, our director, wanted me to sort of be part of the show rather than just someone that's sitting up the back just playing music and not involved. And I really relished the opportunity to do that. And, yeah, I mean, I play the DJ. I'm basically triggering all the music, but at the same time, I'm a percussionist by trade. And I sort of wanted to involve a lot of live percussion in the show as well, and the music gave me the opportunity to do that, which was great. So, before that, having worked on producing the music, all over the place. Like we have a studio in Melbourne and Sydney, and my partner is down there in Melbourne. We spent a lot of time putting the music together in a way that we wanted to present for the show, but also to have a supreme music listening experience. So we did a lot of research. We got some great musicians on the soundtrack. So basically what you're hearing when you hear the music of the show is music that I produced with people that I would have in a band if there was a live band at the show. But we're talking about a nightclub where I'm there presenting the music as a DJ, but the work that went into it before was quite an experience, because we spent so much time in the music, and I've got musicians from all over the world playing on that soundtrack, including my friend Serge, who's the guitarist for Earth, Wind and Fire.
Oh, well.
Yeah, so, I mean, with music technology these days, you can be so remote with your, more remote with your recording. So I can send them files, I can put guitars on tracks, and I can re-import them into a music arrangement. And that's the great thing about recording music these days, that you can basically do it so remotely and have people all over the world playing on your music. So that was the challenge, and it's a great challenge for me. But I really enjoy being up there and presenting the show, and also, you know, to a point, playing a character. I get to sing a half a Barry White song. And,
you do, yes, yes.
Yeah, and it's a bit of fun. It really is, and it's not meant to be taken too seriously. But if it helps bring the audience into the space and into an atmosphere where they feel like, okay, I'm in Velvet or I'm in a nightclub, and that's why we have the DJ, me, up there as the audience is walking in, so it feels like they're walking into a nightclub, and all of a sudden it changes very quickly and becomes the show. So,
well, when you come back to Melbourne this time, you'll be at Palms at Crown, so a different venue to last time, but a lovely venue for you to be in. I
think so. I think the great strength of the show is that we can adapt to spaces. So, for example, we've just done a season in Perth at the Perth Fringe in another Spiegel tent, the Aurora. We did a couple of nights in Adelaide at the Theberton Theatre, which was an 1,800-seat theatre, which was just phenomenal for the cast, just to play a couple of sold-out shows in Adelaide to such an audience. The Malthouse was one of my most enjoyable seasons, I have to say. I love that theatre. We have to sort of embrace each space as it comes. So we'll be back in the tent for Hobart, and when we get to Melbourne, I'm looking forward to the Palms. I've played there so many times with so many artists, and to bring this show to that space is really, I'm really looking forward to it. I think the show does have a tinge of Vegas in it. Like it feels like it could work in a Vegas showroom, and I think the Palms has that setup.
It's got that ambience about it, hasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, and with the booths and the seating can sort of be worked around our centre catwalk that goes into the audience. So, I mean, it's meant to be experienced in the round, but what the Crown does is give you a concert perspective of it as well, which is one of the facets of the show that is often recognised. That sometimes it feels like you're in a concert.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
Not necessarily a Marsha Hines concert, but boy, does she deliver.
I interviewed her last year on this program for Velvet, and what a phenomenal lady. Beautiful. I mean, so she's as good today as what she was back in the 1970s.
Okay, well, look, I was sort of around in the 70s, but a child. But look, across my career, I've just sort of watched all that she's done and sort of studied her music, and then only until Velvet did I meet her properly and start working with her. And I think, she is a powerhouse vocalist, a
Certainly
great lady, and she's become a great friend as well to not only me but a lot of the younger members of the cast who are. Some of them are like 20 years old, but we go from, it's quite an age, a span of ages in our show. We've got 20-year-olds and we've got people, well, let's say the older people like myself and Marsha, but older, more experienced. But she's a great lady. And look, recording her vocals for the album, I was sitting there with my producers and engineers going, I don't think we've never heard anybody sing like this. So the dials on the desk were going way, way right. And she's just got a phenomenal instrument.
She has.
That's such an advantage for us to have her in the show, purely as a vocalist.
Joe, you've done a lot of shows over the years, and you've composed and so on. And if I mention a couple of those, I just want to see your comparison from those into Velvet, what you're doing now. There's been Tap Dogs. You work with David Campbell, Human Nature. You've worked with Robbie Williams, of course, Cyndi Lauper, Andrea Bocelli. Then you've composed for the Sydney Olympics. You've done all of that sort of thing. You're up there for the Helpman Awards with Smoke and Mirrors. How does this Velvet then compare to what you've done in the past?
Well, yeah, well, you can tell all those artists and shows, they're all very different. And I think that sometimes the excitement in being involved in a new work really spurs you on to create something special for yourself and for the show. So, for example, something like Tap Dogs, I was brought in by Dean Perry quite early, and I was in the show for quite a few years and then became the musical director and started composing music for the show and rearranging things. So I got into more the arranging side, and obviously working with Human Nature and David Campbell was more on a music director side, but also arranging and changing some of their existing arrangements was quite fun. And I think what I like to bring to a show is a different perspective on the music without changing it too much and staying true to the original nature of the song or the piece, but giving it a little bit of a different tinge. And I think you probably hear a couple of wacky arrangements in Velvet as well, but it sort of works with the show. And I think, working with those artists, and, I sort of progressed from being, a session drummer into a musical director, a composer, and now working on shows such as Velvet and Smoke and Mirrors from the ground up. And a lot of that's got to do with my friendship and involvement with Craig Eilert, the director, who directed both Smoke and Mirrors and Velvet. And we've got a great relationship in building things from the ground up. And I think it's really exciting when you walk into a rehearsal room and you go, okay, well, what are we doing? Let's make a show.
Yes, and it goes.
Sometimes, in the case of Velvet, we had the groundwork and the mapping laid out in front of us. We'd chosen the songs. And then, 3 weeks in rehearsals, we found other songs, and we quickly whipped them up for the show. You just never know what's going to work, and sometimes that doesn't even happen until you put it in front of an audience. And once we did, we worked out what we needed to adjust. But I think that's the exciting part of the work is that it's not so much fear, but the sort of you're waiting to see how this piece is going to work out, because you don't know what it's going to be yet. And seeing something grow from a list of songs into a show like Velvet is really exciting, and that's why I still find it a lot of fun to be up there presenting the show, because I was there when it started, but I feel that for the audience, it's the first time they're seeing it, and I think that's something that I tend to concentrate on with the cast. It's like every night we have a different audience. It's the first time to Velvet. Mind you, when we get to Adelaide, we have people that go, we've seen your show 5 times. It's
really?
Like,
it's getting a cult following, I think, as it goes on. Now, you're going to be at the Palms at Crown June the 8th until the 2nd of July, so quite a good season there. Tickets are from $45, and, Joe, it's ticketmaster.com.au. So the Palms from the 8th of June till July the 2nd. Going to be quite a good season. Joe, thanks for your time today. It's been very, very valuable, and love talking to you, mate.
My pleasure, Lee, and do come back to the show.
Oh, I'll be there for sure. I'll be there for sure.
A couple of new cast members, and we've tweaked a few things, but come along.
It's worth seeing 2 and 3 and 5 times, as you just said. Take care, pal. Have a lovely weekend.
Thank you.
Okay, bye now.